Aloha. Welcome. Hmm. I am so happy to be here with you. Some of you perhaps were just in my last class. Others of you might be joining for the first time. So my name is Victoria Angelheart, and I am coming to you from the island of Maui in Hawaii. I'm so curious. Hi, Jill. Hi, Oliver. Where are you all coming in from? There's 30 of us here together. I would love to know, where in the world are you, and then what time is it where you are? Here on Maui right now, it is 4 o'clock. It's always interesting to see. Violet's in New York and it's 10 p.m. Flo's in Paris. Wow. Hi, Shannon and Virginia and Jill. It's 9. Wow, 3 a.m. in Paris. Well, Flo, I hope that this practice helps you go back to sleep. Allison, welcome. It's 8 p.m. in Colorado. I used to live in Colorado and I loved how, in the summer at least, how late it stayed light outside and just how beautiful the sun was setting over the mountains. Aziz, welcome from Montreal. 10 p.m. So it sounds like a lot of you are preparing for bed. It's funny, I'm just getting ready for my Friday evening. It's so interesting. Oh, Kim says it's midday in Australia. Wow. I'm curious before we go further into the practice, how is the sound? I often have some people who say that the sound is good, and some people say that the sound is terrible, and it's always really hard for me to be the sound engineer and be sharing a meditation with you guys. So just please keep me updated in the comments if you need me to change anything about the sound at any point. Wow, Thando in South Africa, it's 4 a.m. Fascinating to see you guys awake at 3 and 4 a.m. All right, so Jill, I hear that it seems to be too quiet for you. I think if you rotate your phone, you might notice that it actually amplifies the sound. So give that a shot and see, and then make sure that you have your volume turned all the way up. So it's so nice to see more of you joining us here. My name, again, is Victoria Angel Hart, and I am a teacher of mindfulness meditation trained at UCLA. I've lived at 2 Buddhist monasteries and am currently working under Dr. Judson Brewer, who is just an incredible neuropsychiatrist. You can check out some of his work. He has a really popular TED Talk to be a mindfulness-based behavior change facilitator. And one of the other things that I do is I am also a sacred musician. So these classes that I teach are really different from a lot of lives on the Insight Timer because most people are either listening to music or they're meditating, but when we join here together, we are doing both. So I'm really excited to be able to offer you a song tonight and to offer you a practice that's really been impactful for me. I would love to just let you know a few announcements and then we'll dive into the practice. I see some of you already sending the hearts over there, and I love getting those. It really helps me to see that you're engaged and encourages me to keep on because it's hard not seeing your faces. I'm so used to teaching in person, or at least teaching on Zoom where I can see and engage with the people here I'm leading, and so it's fascinating to just see the comments. And Deb, his name is Dr. Judson Brewer. Okay, Nikki, I'm glad that you are gonna actually go to sleep, and happy Halloween wherever you are. Thank you guys so much. I see all the loves coming in. If you haven't already followed me on the Insight Timer, please do go ahead and click on my name and click the follow button. I have over 60 meditations that I've recorded and posted in the last 3 years that I've been teaching on the Insight Timer, and I'm always releasing and posting more. So Parker can't hear anything. I think you might need to exit and come back in and then check your volume setting, but you probably can't hear me saying this to you. It's always a challenge with the technology. So thank you all so much for coming to Let Go of Stress and Let Love In. This is actually the very first class I ever taught on the Insight Timer. And I uploaded it not knowing that it would go out to the whole world, thinking it would just go to a small group that I was teaching when I was working in Denver as a meditation teacher. So I love that this has become my most popular and most listened to meditation, even though it has shifted a lot in the last 3 years as I've gone deeper into my practice. So that's enough about me. If at any point during the session you find the work that we're doing to be valuable, thank you for a generous donation that keeps me able to offer these meditations live here on the Insight Timer basically every single day of the week. So I'm happy to be able to hold this space for you and to give you the opportunity to let go of stress and let love in. Is anybody out there feeling stress from the election? Anybody curious about how their life might change in a few days? Anyone feeling a little bit overwhelmed, panicked perhaps? Maybe you've had some stress with your family where some people in your family are voting for one candidate and others are voting for another candidate, and that's created some rifts maybe in your family or maybe at work. Kim, I'm talking about in the USA. Yeah, so there's big things that are causing us stress, and then writing a final exam today, absolutely, that can cause stress as well. There's so many big and small reasons that we feel stress in our body. I really want to invite you to take this opportunity of the practice of let go of stress and let love in to be a space where you give up having to get anything done. I'm so sorry that Parker can't hear, and I appreciate everyone's comments trying to help him. And maybe if someone from the Insight Timer tech support team is watching here with us, maybe they can give him some direction. Yeah, Rick, stress of your daughter turning 18, concerned about the election. Yeah, there's so many reasons that we feel stress, but I want you to know that in the next 30 to 45 minutes, not sure exactly how long this practice will go, that there's nothing for you to do and no problems are going to be solved. So I just want to put that out there right now. You're not going to magically fix all of your stress for the rest of your life as we practice together. And at the same time, I am going to offer you some momentary relief that you can internalize and take with you for your day-to-day life, so that perhaps in the future things are less stressful, or you stay stressed for less time. I have found that my stress level when I started meditating was at a 10 or beyond. I was really stressed out. I was working full-time as a teacher while I was getting my master's degree, while I was in charge of a club of over 100 students, while I was getting credentialed to be a teacher. And I was not sleeping well. I was coping with alcohol for a long time. And I was really just and sleeping pills. I did the whole thing, anything I could think of to get my mind to stop thinking so that I could just rest. And then, of course, none of that worked. I would wake up the next morning and feel even worse. And when I started meditating, I found that not only did my insomnia start to lessen, but the overall stress level that I felt decreased massively. And my heart rate, my resting heart rate dropped tremendously. It was fascinating to see the physiological changes in my body as I started to let go of stress. And that's why I offered this practice as my first teaching here on the Insight Timer, and is why I continue to teach it, and I teach this class around once a week, so that more people have an opportunity to let go of stress and let love in. Because here's the deal. You were not designed to be stressed. You were not designed to be overworked and overwhelmed. It is a product of the society and the time in which we live, but it does not have to be your reality. So I want you to know that you can choose, you can actually choose how stressed you let yourself be. And maybe that's a new thought for you. So I just want to say it again. You can choose how stressed you let yourself be. And here's why. because you have no or little control over the facts of life. The power goes out. There's an election on Tuesday. Someone is stopped in front of you and you're late for work. All of those facts of life just happen. And they then show up in your mind as thoughts. And some of those thoughts are positive, some of them are negative, and most all of them are reactive. We don't often consciously choose to create new thoughts in the moment, especially when we feel stress. Instead, we rely on the habits and the ways in which we have thought before and what people have told us that we should think when certain things happen. I was reflecting this morning when I was driving. I actually discovered something really kind of terrifying and fascinating that I'm going to work on immediately. That is that my horn doesn't work on my car. And I've had that car for a year, and I live on Maui, and today's the first time I've ever needed to honk my horn. And I had no idea that my horn wouldn't honk. Something must be broken. And I realized that I used to honk my horn a lot. And it wasn't just that I lived in Denver where there were a lot more people and a lot more reasons to honk the horn, but because I would have the fact happen that someone would cut me off. And my immediate reaction, my knee-jerk reaction, was to honk at them and blare my horn so that they could feel my vengeance and my wrath. Has anyone else ever tried doing that, or is that your automatic reaction? It's so real for me. And I realized that mindfulness actually created a huge change. And I thought back to my time in Denver today after the non-honking happened, and I was gripping my steering wheel, and I realized that I was gripping my steering wheel because I was afraid, because someone pulled out in front of me and it scared me because I could have hit them. But I realized, wow, there have been so many times in my life that I've been gripping my steering wheel out of anger and out of stress and out of fear. I think that if I just hold on tighter to my steering wheel, I will get there faster somehow. And you might have done that too. Maybe when you get stressed and you're in your car and you're late for work and your kids are yelling in the back seat, whatever it is, or someone calls you and you have to have a conversation while you're stuck in traffic, all of those things, you might notice that your physical body reacts to the stress. It reacts immediately. Yes, Pammy says that in New York, yes, love, noise, and excitement. That's the same way when I lived in Taiwan and I rode a little motor scooter around, and I didn't really have a loud horn, but all the cars around me did and all the trucks, and it was a wild adventure being in the city. So I say all of this about the noise and about the horn and about gripping the steering wheel because I want you to think about in your own life the way that a fact happens, and then you have a thought about that fact, and what you think actually creates the emotions that you feel and the physiological responses that show up in your body. To continue on with that example of when I was in Denver and I would get cut off and I would grip the steering wheel so tight and I would honk my horn so loud for so long, I realized one day that my first Buddhist teacher, his name is Thich Nhat Hanh, maybe some of you also have read some of his books or practiced with him before, he would say that a bell is actually a mindfulness wake-up reminder. And not just any bell, but horns. Every time you hear a horn honk, you can wake up and recognize, oh, where am I? What am I doing? What's happening? And so when I shifted my thought consciously to hearing the sound of the horn, and that sound of the horn bringing me into a state of awareness, everything shifted in my body. because I wasn't getting so caught up in the story of being right and being so offended that they did something to me and making up all these stories about how terrible of a person they are and how dare they cut me off and all of that, which I heard from my parents growing up, and I was indoctrinated in that story. When I took a second and paused and heard that horn honk and felt my hands on the steering wheel, in that moment I had choice. And that was the moment that I had a breakthrough of realizing that I can let go of stress. And no, Oliver, I can't see you. I can only read your comments. So I realized that I can let go of stress. And Thich Nhat Hanh has taught me so much about presence and so much about compassion. And the more that I studied and the more that I lived at his monastery and the more that I practiced mindfulness for many, many years now, the more that I've recognized that we can choose to have more compassionate thoughts around whatever is happening. Because we are going to have thoughts. Things are going to happen that we don't like, that scare us, that make us uncomfortable. But we can choose to have a more benevolent thought, a kinder, more compassionate response, rather than a selfish, closed reaction that we've learned from other people. Because our true nature isn't horn honking. It isn't tight steering wheel gripping. Our true nature is relaxation. It is ease. And we have the opportunity through mindfulness to access our natural, open-hearted state of presence. And when we access that, we can consciously choose, instead of yelling at that person, to actually send them wishes of loving kindness and send them gratitude for actually being put on our path to help us wake up a little bit more. So that is what this practice we're about to go into together is all about. We're letting go of stress by seeing the thoughts that we're thinking, by recognizing the stories that we're telling, and by pausing right there, whatever wakes us up, by taking a sacred pause to just recognize, okay, I'm stressed. Okay, here's the story. Here's why I'm stressed. And then we go in, so the acronym I'm going to teach you is real relief. So that's the R we recognize. Then we go into the E, where we actually get in and experience, what is this stress feeling like in my body right now? Is this how I want to be feeling? Probably not, but it's real. So we experience what's there. And then we allow it to be there. And I'll dive into this more, but I just want to go over the acronym before we get started. And once we allow ourselves to actually feel stressed, something fascinating happens. When we can be with what is, we can begin to let go of attaching to it. And when we stop giving it so much of our energy, and when we stop being so attached to it having to have this one particular meaning based on this one story we told about it, we can actually shift our physiological state of being. We can find more equanimity. We can find balance inside of ourselves. And from that place, we can choose to let love in by allowing ourselves to access our natural, open-hearted state of presence. And when I say that, this place I'm talking about is actually the spot inside of you, in your heart, in your chest, where you are just basically good. We all have the same basic goodness. We all came into the world with it. There have been many things that have happened in our lives that have perhaps made us feel like we're not so good anymore. But if we let go of all the stories we tell about all the ways that we aren't perfect, we're not worthy, and we get down to the heart of the matter, we can really feel. We can really feel our own goodness, the natural, open-hearted state of presence. And when we start to feel that place inside of us that is naturally good, that is always accessible to feel love and gratitude and openness, we can then expand that feeling and give it to all of ourselves, and then give it out to those people who we have started saying are causing our stress. We can let love in as a way of healing and as a way of waking up to a future and of a life that we want to live in, rather than the one that we think we are destined to live because of things that are outside of our control. We cannot control the facts of life, but we do have control over our thoughts, and we do have control over our emotions even, because when we dig in and we actually feel our feelings, we feel the sensations in our body, and we allow ourselves to be with them, we find that they shift. Because if you think back now to the last time you stubbed your toe, it probably hurt pretty bad in that moment, but it doesn't still hurt now. And the last time you cried, think about that. Maybe it was earlier today. Maybe it was several days ago. Maybe it was weeks or months ago. Wherever you are along that spectrum of how your life has unfolded and you've cried recently or not, you probably are not crying in this moment, which is yet another remembrance that our emotions are always in motion. They are energy in motion. And because they are in motion, we have conscious control over how long they stay and how intensely they are felt when we start allowing them. And when we experience them without stories. So what I've just taught you is the practice of real relief. And this is a practice that I've been teaching to students all over the world for years now, and I've found to be really remarkable in bringing into everyday life, recognizing the thoughts that you have, recognizing that your thoughts are not facts, and recognizing what the one or maybe a few feelings are, in this case, stress. It's that sacred pause where you wake up and recognize, okay, I feel stressed right now. And then the E, you experience, what is that like? You're just the scientist, you're the observer. What is it like in my body? And then you dive into, okay, I'm going to be with this, knowing that it will change, knowing that it comes and goes, knowing that it will get stronger, and then it will eventually disappear and be replaced by something else. So I'll just hold it with some compassion and be with it in this moment. And that leads into the L of real relief, where you can let it go as it wants to, letting it flow and releasing your attachment to it being who you are. So real relief comes when you recognize that you are not stress. Stress is not who you are. Stress is something that you feel. So real relief comes from disidentifying with that emotion and instead simply seeing it as something that is happening in this moment, something that will shift and change. And as you stop taking it so seriously and stop attaching to it, stop trying to make it go away, you can invite in some compassion. You can invite in some love. You can invite in your basic goodness to say, oh wow, okay, there are feelings of stress in my body, and below that, there's something else here that's always here. And that is the heartbeat of love. Yes, I am here to let go of this stress and let the love in. And I can access this love that always lives inside of me when I take the time to focus on it. And that's what I'm going to teach you now in just a moment, is 2 ways that you can access your natural open-hearted presence. so that you can get real relief. Before I get into that, I just want to remind you that if you are enjoying this practice, you can follow me and find a different version of it already on my Insight Timer teacher page, as well as this is being recorded and this will be published in the next week or so if you want to go back and listen to it again. And if you're finding this practice to be helpful, thank you for donating. Your generosity makes it possible for me to continue to join Insight Timer live pretty much every single day and offer these practices around the world. So now it's time for us to dive in. And as we dive in, you don't have to have your eyes open anymore. Instead, you can focus on getting really comfortable, sitting down or lying down, depending on what time it is and if you want to stay awake or if you're trying to fall asleep. And just finding a position of ease. You don't have to have your phone in your hand. You don't have to see me. You don't have to leave any comments if you don't want to. You don't have to leave any more loves or any donations right now. The practice is of coming into a deep state of presence. And that starts with letting go of the outer sense phenomenon and coming into what's real in this moment. And what's real in this moment is this breath. The breath is coming and going. It is changing, and it is here for you. It is supporting you. It is keeping you alive and vital. It is enabling all of the many processes to function with ease in your body right now. So I invite us all to put our phones down, to let go of commenting, to let go of sending love just for a few minutes so that we can create a unified field. There's almost 200 of us here together, and we can actually access the same state of presence from around the world and amplify the goodness. We just talked that we all have basic goodness, and we can really access that within each of us and feel it collectively when we get still, when we go inside, and when we access the breath. So let's do that now. So bring one hand down to your lower abdomen and one hand here to your heart. And allowing your eyes to close if they're not already. And just tuning in to the hand that's on your belly. And noticing if your attention is wandering or if you're feeling distracted or you want to be engaged in conversation, and seeing if you can let go of typing any comments, let go of having a conversation, and instead see if you can access your body to really feel into what's alive inside of you in this moment. So feeling the hand on your abdomen and taking a deep breath in and feeling your abdomen expand, and then letting go and breathing out and just perhaps making a sigh or a sound of some kind. And in a moment, I'm going to start counting in and out for 6. And you can just simply focus on the feeling of your hand moving in and out as your belly expands and as your belly contracts. So just being with your breath in this moment, noticing how it feels. And then letting your eyes close if they're not already. Tuning into your breath as we begin counting collectively in for 6 and out for 6 as we focus on the experience of the breath moving. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing on your own for a moment. Noticing if your mind is wandering. And just giving yourself permission to be anchored over and over back into the feeling of the breath in your body. And then drawing your awareness up to the hand that's on your heart, or perhaps bringing your hand to your heart now. And seeing if, regardless of what emotions have been flowing through you, if perhaps in this moment you can access even a teeny tiny bit of your basic goodness, of your natural, open-hearted presence. This goes beyond all the emotions that are shifting and changing. This goes down into the essence, your true nature. You're here as a being of love. You're here to love and to be loved. And in this moment, you can access your basic goodness. Feeling it. Maybe it shows up as gratitude. Maybe it shows up as joy or compassion, acceptance. Maybe it even shows up as bliss. Noticing whatever is arising as you tap into your basic goodness. And in a moment, we'll start breathing together to create coherence between our heart and our head. And as we do so, we will be accessing the breath through the count of 6. So I'll be counting in and out for 6. You'll be feeling the breath as it rises and falls, but let your attention stay here in your heart space, just feeling into the goodness that fills you up as you breathe in, and then let that goodness flow through your body as you breathe out. So we'll take one clearing breath together, breathing in and letting go, focusing on the heart, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just feeling your natural open-hearted presence and recognizing that you can come back into that place anytime you'd like, especially when you're feeling stressed. You can use these 2 breathing practices to anchor you into the present moment so that you can let go of the stories and you can let a little bit more love, a little bit more relaxation, a little bit more ease come into your life. So now we'll practice Real Relief to really anchor in this acronym and how you can use it for stress. And it starts with the letter R, recognize. So call to mind a time recently that you've been stressed, but not like a 10, maybe just like a 3 or a 4. And as you call to mind this time that you were feeling stressed, just recognize, oh, okay, yep, this was stressful. Yes. And see, what was the fact? What actually happened? Did someone cut you off in traffic? Did you have a deadline you needed to meet? Seeing what the fact is, and then recognizing, what did you think? Where did your thought go after that fact happened? Did you go into a judgment? Did you go into fear? Did you go into worrying? Did you even think about what you thought? Or did the thought just kind of think itself? So recognizing, what is the story you told yourself when this fact happened? And then recognize, how did that show up in your emotions and in your physical body sensations? How did you experience this stress? And now we'll dive into the E, which is to experience it like it's happening again. And for some people, this can be overwhelming. For some people, you don't want to re-experience stress because you don't like stress and you don't want to feel that way. I totally understand. And if that's the case, you can just barely dip your toes in feeling it. But this is a good practice for you to be ready, to be prepared the next time you are feeling stressed. And at any point, if it feels like it's too much, you can open your eyes, you can feel your feet on the floor, and you can come back into the breathing practice of breathing into your abdomen and being with the experience of the breath as you count to 6 and it rises and falls. So knowing that you have access to keep yourself safe and knowing that you are supported through the practice of Real Relief, we'll go on to the E. So thinking back to this time recently where you've been feeling stressed, I want you to experience what stress is like in your body. A lot of people experience it checking first with the belly. It might feel like a clenching or a knot in the gut. It might feel like a fire or a burning or a tingling. And then drawing up and checking, experiencing what's real in your chest. Is there a tightness in your chest? Is there a compression? Is your heart beating out of your chest? Does it feel numb or heavy? There's so many ways that stress can show up in our chest. So then feeling into your throat and seeing in your throat and in your jaw, is there tightness or constriction here? Am I holding? Am I clenching? Am I pushing something down? And then noticing your hands. Noticing the temperature of your hands. Are they warm or cool? Are they clammy or dry? And are they clenched or relaxed? And then seeing for a moment on your own how else the stress shows up in your body. And now we move in to the A of real relief, where we allow ourselves to be with what already is. We cannot change the past, but we can change the future by really being present with what is. So you don't have to like that throbbing of your heartbeat or that clenching of your fist, but you don't have to try to force yourself to make it stop. The more we try to force ourselves or convince ourselves not to be stressed, the more stressed we actually feel in our body, because we're creating tension and tightness when we really can actually relieve the stress by inviting in some ease, by allowing it to know that we're listening. These sensations show up in your body to get your attention. They want you to know that something's wrong so that you can come back to balance. So just allowing yourself to sit and experience however stress is showing up and noticing if it shifts. Noticing if there's a difference now in the way that stress is showing up compared to how it was showing up 3-4 minutes ago. And as you notice what things are shifting, you are not trying to do anything about it. You can start to let go of being attached to it. You can say, I feel stress in my belly, rather than just saying, I am stressed. And really, you can go deeper and you can name. Part of letting go is naming. There is tightness in my chest. And just by saying it, just by honoring, just by naming that that's real, you'll notice shifts happen. You begin to let go when you don't identify with it as belonging to you or that it is who you are, but it's just something that's passing through you. This stress is happening, the stress is coming, and the stress will go. And you can consciously choose, as you let go of identifying with the story and with the sensation, you can choose to let a little bit more love into the situation, into your body, as you choose a more benevolent thought, as you choose to focus on your heart center in the place where you can access your basic goodness, where you can choose to feel into a sense of gratitude that your body loves you so much that it's sending you these signals so that you can wake up and remember that you don't have to live this way. It's helping you to come back to presence, to balance, to equanimity, and back to love, back to your true nature. So just noticing in your heart center and just feeling whatever is there. you might still feel the exact same stress, or it might have shifted. Letting whatever is there be okay. And just holding with compassion your thoughts, your emotions, and your sensations as you remember the concept of impermanence, that everything is always changing. And we'll just sit in silence for a moment and just take in the practice of real relief and seeing perhaps what difference was made before you practiced real relief to now. And when you feel ready, I invite you to open your eyes. When I teach this class, it's always interesting here on Insight Timer because I can't just point to someone and say, how was your experience with real relief? And I can't ask you to talk to each other about it either because we can't break off into pairs. So I'd love for you to pick up your phone now and just share in a few words. What was it like for you to access the practice of real relief, to let go of stress and let love in? Centering, grounding, calm, beautiful and sweet. Yeah. Just recognizing that you have no control over the facts of your life, but you do have control over the thoughts, and that helps you to control the feelings and the body sensations and how long they last and how intense they are. Yeah, a deep cleanse, calming. The L is let go with love. So let go of being attached to it. Let go of thinking it belongs to you. And instead recognize that it is a passing emotion happening through you. And the love part, when you let go with love, is inviting in your natural open-hearted state of presence, which is underneath all these always changing, shifting emotions. Yeah, it's so normal for you to feel that your mind kept running with different worries. That is so real. Is there anyone else who noticed that your mind, your monkey mind kind of jumped from branch to branch? Yeah, Evan, you're welcome. The eating with presence. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but yes, I'm so glad it was beneficial for you. Yeah, so for those of you who did notice that this practice was a little bit challenging because you kept jumping from worry to worry, from thought to thought, know that that is actually what your mind was designed to do. Your mind was designed to think. And we get so caught up in wanting to control our mind and to make it be quiet that we forget that it's just doing its job. But what we do have control over is coming back and giving our minds something to do, which is why I have you count in and out to 6 and focus on the feeling of the breath. because when your mind has something to do, it can't get quite so distracted. And then you can access a different part of your consciousness where you're able to really be with the felt sensations in your body. So it seems like this practice has been really helpful to a lot of you. Thank you so much for your comments. And if this practice was supportive for you and you think you'll take it out into the world, I invite you to give a donation. You can donate just $2, and that affirms for me that this is what I should keep doing and putting my time and resources into to come here live and teach on Insight Timer every single day. And it also helps invest you in remembering the power of this practice to really actually get real relief as often as you need it. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for being willing to stay and to practice and to listen. If you haven't already followed me on the Insight Timer, I invite you to follow me so you can stay updated with the live classes I will be offering in the near future, as well as the guided meditations that I publish regularly. I have 35 sleep meditations out right now. Some of them have amazing, beautiful ambient backing tracks by my dear friend Theo, who's also a teacher here on the Insight Timer. So I invite you to check out more of my meditations after this class. And to end, I'm going to share a song with you. I'm really excited. Some of you weren't here at the beginning to hear me say that not only am I a mindfulness teacher, I'm also a sacred musician, and I will be releasing my first album very soon, and my first single will be coming out here on the Insight Timer, as well as all other streaming platforms in the next few weeks. So I'm going to offer you a song. And before I offer you that song, I know I'll get caught up in the song and forget to tell you about what's coming next. If you liked this practice, you might like some of the other practices that will happen in the next week or so. So tomorrow for Halloween, in America, Halloween is tomorrow. For some of you, it's already Halloween. I will be offering a class called Don't Get Spooked by Fear. And it's similar to this. We'll be going into real relief, but how to do it for fear. And then on Sunday, I'm so excited, and I really, really hope that every single one of you, if it's accessible in your time zone, will come to the practice of No Fear November intention setting. This is going to be a practice where we are going to look into how we can be ruled by love and not fear during the month of November, no matter what changes this month brings about in our personal or collective reality. And tomorrow it is at 10:30 a.m. Maui time, which I have no idea what time that is on your time zone, but if you go to the live events on Insight Timer after this class, you can find my picture and it will show what time it is on your time zone. So I'm really excited to do this intention setting practice. I also work one-on-one with people and do group coaching programs where I do mindful life resets, where we really dig into how can we change and shift fundamentally the way in which we operate in the world, the thoughts that we think, the habits that we have, and our beliefs. And so this No Fear November intention setting class is going to be a free taste of what I offer in that work that I do. I'm really hopeful that many of us on the Insight Timer community will join so that we can know that together we can collectively amplify and raise the vibration of the world in the midst of all this turmoil and struggle. So then I'll be going into just a few days focused on the election. I'll be doing the day before the election, Monday, a pre-election anxiety class. Election day, I'll be teaching a class called Vote for Love. And then the day after the election, I'm going to offer a class called Feel Everything, because I have no idea how it's going to go. I have no idea if we'll even know a winner by then. But I do know that each and every one of us will have many emotions going through our body, and it's important that we can collectively come together to feel them all and to know that they are impermanent and to honor whatever process that we're going through. So I'll be holding that space the day after Election Day. And then I'm still scheduling out classes for the rest of that week, but Evan was commenting about my Eating with Presence class. This is something I'm really passionate about. I'm studying under Dr. Judson Brewer to be a mindfulness-based behavior change facilitator. And as part of that work, I will be leading groups in the future, very, very near future, to support people who struggle with anxious eating, with binge eating, with overeating in general, and with pandemic eating. So I will be offering that class again. It's not scheduled on Insight Timer yet, but it will be next Thursday. So if you could really use the opportunity to learn how to eat with presence and to shift the relationship you have with food, I encourage you to follow me so that you can stay on the lookout for when that class is published. Oh, thank you, Michelle, for your sweet comment. It's really encouraging to me to get your likes and to have donations and to see your comments, because it's really a lot of work to come live here on the Insight Timer for 1 to 3 hours a day. And it's really important to me to be sure that I'm placing my time and my energy and my resources for something that's really being of service to the world. So I appreciate how you all are reaffirming that this is the work that I need to be doing. So thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for your generosity and your donations. And thank you for following me so that you can stay up to date with all the classes I'll be offering in the future. So like I said, I want to finish off tonight with a song. Just going to take a drink. And let's see. So in my last class, I sang part of this song, but I'm going to sing it again for you guys now. And we're going to sing the whole song. This is a class. This is a song called May I Be Open, and it's a prayer. And my Sufi teacher, his name is Hazrat Inayat Khan. He's dead, but I read his books all the time, and his spirit lives on in me every moment. He said something really powerful that sticks with me. He said, "Words that are spoken or sung from the lips reach only as far as the ears, but words spoken or sung from the heart reach the heart." And that's why I make music, because it comes just flooding out of my heart. It comes directly from spirit. And I want to offer it directly into your heart, because sometimes music can speak and touch us in a way that words just can't. So I'm going to sing this song, May I Be Open. I see several of you who are here now have actually come to several of my classes before, and so at this point you might know all the words to this song, and if so, that's awesome. I encourage you to sing along. But otherwise, you can just listen. The words, I'll go stanza by stanza, and we'll sing each one a few times. This is truly a prayer for you to remember, especially when you're stressed. Definitely, especially when you're stressed. May I be open. May I be free. May I release. May I be at peace. So I'm going to sing. I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit so it's not too loud. Let me know if I should turn it back up. I'm just looking at all of your faces. The whole time I'm teaching, your faces are floating by, little like bobbing heads on my screen, and it's so beautiful. It really warms my heart to be able to see your faces and to recognize that we're here all practicing together. And we are collectively healing. We are personally healing. Wow. What a gift to be sharing this time with you. Thank you so much for coming. May I be open. May I be free. May I release. the next phrase is, may I be open, may I be free, may I believe that I'm whole and complete. Especially when we feel stressed, we don't really feel whole in that moment. We definitely don't feel complete, and we really are just believing the things that other people told us in the past that have kind of just gotten lodged in our subconscious. So may this be a prayer that we remember, we believe a more benevolent thought, that we are whole and complete, and that this stress is coming and going, but beyond it, beneath it, is the love that lives effortlessly, flows constantly inside of each of us. May I be open, may I be free, may I believe that I'm whole and complete. May I be open, may I be free, may I believe that I'm whole and complete. And the final stanza of the song says, may I be open, may I be free, may I receive, and may I be at ease. So we'll end our time together by singing that stanza. If you haven't donated yet, I encourage you to leave a donation to support the work I'm doing, creating more of these meditations and offering them freely here on the Insight Timer. Thank you for following me so you can stay up to date with my upcoming classes. And I wish you so much ease, so much peace, and so much release, and so much receptivity to your own goodness. May I be open, may I be free, may I receive, may I be at ease. One more time to finish out our practice together. May I be open, may I be free, may I receive, may I be at ease. Noticing how your heart feels, noticing how your body feels, noticing how your mind feels. Thank you for all your love and support and generosity, and mostly thank you for showing up for yourself to get this tool of real relief so that you can let go of stress and let love in. May we all have less stress, and may we all have more love. And if you need support from me personally with this practice, you have any questions, you can send me a message on the Insight Timer, and I'll do my best to get back with you as soon as I can. You just have to make sure that you have your settings set where I can respond to your messages. So grateful to be here with you, and hope that you'll tune in. If not tomorrow on Halloween, you'll tune in on November 1st at 10:30 a.m. Hawaii time for the No Fear November intention setting group. Sending you so much aloha and love from Maui. Have a beautiful rest of your day or night.